Now, it is an absolute true fact that acting is about receiving. And if you want to be able to do this whole thing and steal the limelight and gain all the attention, the only way to really be able to achieve that is to be able to receive the other actor. And if you look at Lucille Ball and how she works off of George, and it's incredible because she keeps receiving him and receiving him, even though he's given her often so little compared to what she has in terms of energy. See, look, I'm Simon Blake. I've written over 6 acting books, and look, I've seen over 8,000 acting classes. Yes, classes. I've taught acting. There's all kinds of great things on emotional preparation, including a community. So look, the whole thing about this is if you really want to be able to just absolutely super succeed in acting, your ability to be able to help yourself stay activated throughout the acting scene, that is going to be what's going to be able to expand your talent and your emotional range. So when we're working at talent and we're working with ourselves as an instrument of talent, we're looking at the ability to be able to self-activate emotion. We learn to be able to self-activate emotion, and then we don't just rest on our laurels of the fact that we were able to get ourselves sad or angry or depressed or in despair or in regret. We're going to be able to put ourselves in a place where we're receiving the other actor. Once we're able to consistently be able to, regardless of how effective we actually are, and sometimes, we're going to be able to just tremendously upset ourselves. We have a lot of fun as actors learning how to be able to upset ourselves. We're not just upsetting our feelings. We're not just upsetting our own thoughts or ideas or our feelings or our deep feelings. We're going down into the elements of emotion. We are upsetting ourselves in terms of emotion, and we are able to then be able to not only rest on that talent, which, by the way, is a tremendous, acting talent. It means emotion. Absolutely rests on emotion. But we're then going to put ourselves into the ability to receive even more stimulus than we've already done in our self-stimulation exercises. When we're doing our emotional preparation, I like to call it emotional activation because the last step of emotional preparation is activation. You've got to have an active emotion for yourself to be a lit fuse, to be able to put yourself into this whole thing. You're literally putting yourself in a frequency. You're putting yourself in a resonance. You're literally going to be vibrating with that emotion because of self-activation. And then, even then, even when your talent's completely activated, you still want to be able to literally receive more. You want to be able to receive more. And then you get the next moment and you receive more. And this is what's going to be able to have this vacuum happen within your acting. The interest and intrigue of the audiences to be able to see and witness everything that you're going through in a real-time experience rests on your ability to be able to receive the other actor. This is incredibly important. And go back and look at Lucille Ball. Look and see how there's so many times where George will be in a situation with her, and sometimes he'll come in all fiery, and other times he'll still be in a situation, and it doesn't matter. Any situation that he's in with her, she's going to consistently receive everything that he does so that there's even more energy, and more energy received from the other actor. Now, when we're working at subtle elements, we're looking at subtle emotions, we still want to be able to keep ourselves in an essence of receiving. The more we're able to receive from the other actor, the more we have our talent gets activated. When we shift from the ability, we receive something from the other actor, we're not stuck in the one emotion that we started with. We are literally in adjustment to the next thing that we received them, and all of a sudden we had despair that we'd started the scene with, and we had self-activated, done emotional preparation on despair, and then all of a sudden it shifts over to regret. And then we receive more from the actor, and then we have another thing go on within us. And then we receive another thing, and we have another thing go on within us. Now, this is what's going to be able to build careers in acting. This is what's going to be able to work for your music videos. This is what's going to be able to work to be able to get your talent out. And look, even if you've got a great voice and you're able to do all sorts of great things in the music, you can still be able to utilize this so that you can get your talent activated. And your talent means that you're activating your emotion, you're working from your emotional core, so that when you're able to put yourself into the music videos or the acting scenes, that you're able to still be able to reactivate and have yourself reactivated and reactivated and reactivated. See, the whole thing is to be able to utilize both your imaginary circumstances. You want to call it given circumstances. I like to call it acting interaction. Anything that's within your acting scenes, you want to be able to utilize anything within those, then to be able to have this spark of your own emotion. Anything that's going to be able to help you spark emotion is going to be helping you to be able to activate your own talent. So your goal in your emotional preparations and your activations and all the ability to activate your emotions, and you've got your feelings going and everything's working, is to be able to continue to receive more and mixed with yourself whatever it is that you started with. So we know that the scene starts with something, and then we know that the scene's likely going to end in something. We just don't know exactly. Even when we know it's a scripted ending for the scene, we don't know how or what dance we're going to go through emotionally to be able to get there. And now, when we're able to figure that out, now we're able to be able to have all of ourselves completely present, and we understand that the dialogue of our scenes can just come out of our mouths. And we know that we're going to have timing that's going to be automatic, because our timing is now going to be able to come off of the other actor, because we're stuck on receiving the other actor. And then we're not missing the moments. How can we be missing the moments? Because we're connected to the other actor and we're receiving the next moment. And there'll be times when you receive a moment and there'll be a half or a quarter moment come out. And then all of a sudden there'll be a shift in the other actor. And when we receive the other actor, then we shift to the other actor. We shift to either the other actor we're working with more than one, or we shift to wherever the emotion is within your acting. This is how to be able to absolutely consistently, this is how audiences follow us, is our ability to be able to make these adjustments with our emotions. We're going to warm up these. I do suggest actually warming up your emotional ranges that you expect to use in the exercise, but don't overdo it. Make sure that you're working really well to be able to isolate the depth level of that emotion when you're starting it. Look, I've got reasons to knock on the door. You can use that book to be able to practice 1 hour a week, half an hour, or 1 hour even every 2 weeks if you're busy. And you work to be able to activate the emotion and then come to be able to knock and see if your knock's actually resonating that start of emotion. But once you actually start the emotional scene, you're starting the emotional interaction, the first moment, your best moments are going to be your ability where you just have to absolutely, out of absolute need, express yourself, which is going to happen because you've got yourself upset. And then there's going to be the ability to receive the other actor. And your shifts and adjustment to your receiving the other actor is the rides and emotional ups and downs. And this is the emotional arc of the actual acting scenes. And the more you practice acting this way, the better you'll be in acting and the better you'll be able to achieve in anything artistic or anything creative.